Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. If you're watching us after we've been live, fist bump on arrival, of course. Don't forget to hit the like button and hit subscribe. We're here for a wee bit of afternoon chat. Me and Harry Trades were just on having a wee blather, getting stuck into all things kind of strategy in the week ahead, as it were. And I had this kind of notion to sorry, Bluetooth jumped across devices there for the headphones, but I had this wee notion to go live today and have a wee talk on some collections, what it really looks like to overspend on Sorare, and talk about some of the topics at hand over the last week or two as we prepare for what should be a massive week. We've got Nicholas teasing us with bomb emojis and card reveal stuff and everything else. But yeah, we didn't book this stream live, so we're not expecting anyone to be here right now live. So if you're watching this after we're live, that's all for you, fist bump. And yeah, we're just waiting for the heroes and legends, the Sorare scouts and managers to show up, and we'll get stuck into it. Harry Trades, my man, how you doing?
Yeah, doing well, mate. Deja vu. What's that? Friday, Sunday. We're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, excited.
Friday, Sunday, non-stop. And it's been non-stop for you, Harry boy. Second channel is off the ground. Harry on Wales or Harry on Wales?
Yeah, Harry on Wales. I'm open to suggestions on changing the name if I need to, but I just really wanted to get it out. Because obviously we played our first game under new manager and everything, and we're playing again tomorrow. So I was under a time restraint, to get that out and to get the channel out, I guess. So yeah, open to suggestions, but I'm excited. Yeah, excited to chat Wales. Obviously, like I was telling you, I don't support a club, so it's one of them where like I want to talk about a team, and yeah, Wales is that chosen team nation, so I'm excited.
Oh, good luck, mate. We'll all be here supporting you. I subbed. I think I was sub number 26. So good to see it's rattling its way to 100 at a speed of knots. So
28 strong we are.
28, love it. Yeah. So if you haven't checked out yet, you'll find on Harry's Twitter, or you've probably been linked to the main channel as well at some point if he's not done that yet. But yeah, you'll be able to catch that. And yeah, onwards and upwards, Harry boy, buzzing for it. We've got a bunch of people joining us live, which is great to see and here. And yeah, this midweek it has been all international stuff, Harry. I guess since we're waiting for everyone to show up and that. How's your midweek been, or how's your weekend been so far? I guess your game week.
Yeah, not bad, mate. To be fair, I've got a little 9th in challenger in season, which is I'll try and get it on the screen now if we need to. I remember I said on Friday I paid £7 for that Jimmy Mauer. He only dropped 100 points. Mental, mate. So I went to bed last night, woke up to see 100 was just nuts. I purposely have tried to relegate this team, which is successful. I come dead last with no players playing.
Jackpot.
And then this was like my other challenger team, which had Morris in, which could have done with him up top. Or swap Mauer and Bono over, and this team ends up doing, 5th maybe, which it's marginal. The actual amount isn't much different, but I just wanted to get two of my Division 2s promoted. I've obviously just got one, but that's, I'll take one over none because I've been stuck in Division 2 for a little while now. And going into this weekend, like you said, it's a massive, massive week with everything back from internationals. I just really wanted a D1 in Chal. So I'm excited about that. I've got a few, sorry, data's messing up, but I've got a few things going on. This might do something if Gluch has a second game and Elanga plays maybe later. So, but no, 323 lineups, and they've all very average. Gomez and then Ciso. You remember the debate?
The Paraguayans.
Well, Szoboszlai got a clearance off the line randomly.
I seen he was on 70 before that.
Yeah. So
what did he bring in?
It was he had it early on, so he finished on like a 70.
Oh, was it?
But like Enciso and Gomez both hit the post. So it's just like, when your luck's out, your luck's out. Wales play again, but yeah, that won't do much. Fighters special, doing okay. A couple of double game weeks here as well. Got nice. Diaz goal, got the clean sheet, and just waiting on Lafise, Wilson, and Ward to play again. And my little £26 international team came on for 2 minutes and got himself an assist, which was just the luckiest thing ever.
Wow.
Just kept me in it, and I've got these 3 to play again, and Costa plays later, hopefully. But yeah, I don't know. The points are nearly 500 points who are winning it, so I probably won't get anywhere near it, but that's fine.
Scotland won't score.
Hopefully Scotland don't score, and then I need Romania. Yeah, I need Romania to do well at home to Lithuania. But yeah, no, it's fine. For an international break with the MLS on, I think that was a bit of a treat in that sense. better than just having the internationals. So yeah. What about you, mate? Did you get anything out? I can't remember. You had a couple out, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a few teams out. I've went on to Sorare because Sorare Data has not got the fighting special updated well, but I got Joe Rocca to get booked right before he gets subbed. So that was
No way.
a wee saviour, brings him on to 60 points ish, you know. Callan smashed.
Ooh.
Siganikov, I watched Albania, Ukraine on YouTube with no commentary. Siganikov was okay. He started like we thought he might.
I know, yeah. I was like, he's gonna start. We said it, didn't we?
He played the whole game. He looked all right, but nothing really that great. So I've got McGinn captain and Skorupski still to go. Fingers crossed on that. And otherwise, yeah, All Blacks second game. Hopefully he plays, and then Guardiola against Poland. This team could be fun.
Nice. Oh yeah, wicked score so far.
Yeah, Captain Limer, who brought in a flat 60, but he's got a second game, so
okay.
Wee bit of room for improvement. For
Surprised you didn't
Wirtz, I'd be on
captain
the moon.
Wirtz. Why didn't you captain Wirtz?
I think it was a double game week, and it was the fear of Wirtz getting like 60 minutes or some shit, you know, and like.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, so one of those ones. And apparently, Charlie Dunbar was SR Dunbar was telling me that Openda missed a penalty before he won one.
Yeah, he won a pen, missed a pen, scored a goal, got an assist, he got everything.
Yeah. So yeah, he could have been a little bit better, but
yeah.
But that's
a good score though. Good score.
I think I could do all right. I'm kind of happy enough for it. We've got some fun stuff in the chat as well. Luke Jones has went and subscribed to Harry on Wales, which is
appreciate that.
Legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andre Nusco is the role model of overspending. After the gallery reviews, I think we've done on Andre. I would definitely attest to that. And I don't know. I retweeted Gerard Piqué. We were talking about this before we came on, but Piqué dropped a bomb emoji. They've signed Lamine Yamal to the Kings League for something. I don't know if it's a promo or he started a team or whatever, but I seen that and I thought Piqué maybe speaks the same emoji language as Nico. So I don't know, mate. I don't think it's going to be something that's not previously planned. Like I've said on the channel quite a lot, Harry. I mean, you share the same kind of headspace in a lot of sense, but like for me, like Sorare's plans on this season started probably last October or November when they got a lot of stuff in place and realized like we need this beginning of season like hype and bounce, you know, when the new FIFA comes out and the new Football Manager comes out, and you still need to be out there when people are doing FPL teams, and you know, so I feel like they've been planning this period that we've went through, and then maybe the next week or two has probably been like the battle plan in the war room at Sorare HQ for like a year or something. So I don't think it's something reactionary. I think it's something that's been the wheel has been dyed for it, you know.
Yeah, 100%. It does feel like it's all part of their sort of marketing and whatever for the season and stuff. Maybe like it's not even a halfway. It's this first sort of, I don't even know, first quarter, first eighth of the season, maybe.
Yeah. Look at that from Højbjerg, man.
Jesus, monster.
Yeah, it's an absolute freak, isn't he, man?
Just
3 tackles, one. Has he been booked or anything? Nah. 27 on possession AA. Where's he getting it from? 12 from 4 interceptions. Accurate final third balls, 20.
Yeah, that's a lot.
With no final third presence.
He's just getting nosebleed, doesn't he, when he crosses the halfway line?
He's just such an operator. Great shout, Dom, on that one. We had one right early before we get stuck into it. We're waiting for all you guys to show up. But under 23 players to recommend. This is a bit of a widespread topic at the moment. I think under 23 feels like some people's haven away from the bloodbath of Challenger and the mayhem of Champion and all the rest of it. Anyone jumped on your radar over the last few days of the last week, Harry?
Not really. I mean, I got a couple of. I'm just trying to think. I know I got a couple of videos like cheap under 23 players and stuff on my channel that I made probably like a month and a half ago now before the season started. So they might be quite, relatively useful. I don't know what their prices would be now, but it's actually it's such a broad question, isn't it? What position? Give me positions and I might be able to give you a little bit more information.
Just have a wee peek, see if there's anyone that's popped up on my sphere. I seen Tony Watt put a tweet out the other day asking for something similar, and my response to him was Bernabe. If you see Bernabe's scores, man, like he's turning into a U23 defender of death right now, man. Like he's just eating AA every game in a great way. So I'm loving a bit of Bernabe at the moment, and outside of that, nobody really jumps out at me, I don't think. Yeah, nobody's really... It's been a surprise package so far this year.
I'm still high on the Riker boys like Niko Jankovic and Tony Fruk, and if you're looking outside of champ, thick players like that, there's definitely a few nice under 23 mids, in that sphere.
Yeah. And we've got this one here from Nathan. Do you know when early access cards will be open? Now, my guess was actually going to be like the week we just had there. I thought we might have got it there. It feels like it probably should be this week we get early access, I would imagine, because the transfer window's closed. They've probably got most of the pictures anyway. And then it is
post-international break, right? Like
post-international break as well. Yeah, coming out of that. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was this week. If it was later than this week, I wouldn't be too surprised, but I would find it suboptimal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you probably want it for like the next big, domestic weekend, if that makes sense. And but yeah, who knows?
After selling up my classic cards, they better not change the game. I don't think anything's getting changed. Like I mentioned with the bomb emoji thing, I think everything they're doing now has been the battle plan for a length of time, because the thing with Sorare, especially for you guys that were on this channel for a fair length of time, hearing me bump my gums about it, like they're, every time they've been trying to do something, the goalposts are always moving, where they get new teams licensed or they get a new league licensed, or there's always been something kind of ever changing. And like I think with the quite clear messaging on like the prize pool that they've done this year, and a few other bits and bobs, like I don't see anything changing immediately. Next week I should have some Sorare product guys actually on the channel. I actually need to get back to them and tell them. I got the members in the Telegram group. I said to them, we're going to have the product guys on. Any questions you've got, I'll submit them and see if they get approved and all that jazz, and I'll send some myself. So I've got them. I just need to collate them and send them over. So keep your peepers. But I say I just think everything is big. Has been big picture from Sorare when it comes to planning for this. I don't think anything is going to be a macro incident or whatever. After having 50% of cards, less incentives to push prices. Yeah, it's more fun, I think, probably. I say the bomb thing's quite, because what some people thought it was Saudi, which I thought was overtly, you know what I mean?
It's only the people with Saudi cards thinking it's fucking Saudi. Let's be real now. Come on. Nobody else even thinks about that. Let's be fair.
Yeah. Fair enough. But the thing I had kind of half planned, right, is because again, like I don't want to kind of beat the dead horse that is like classic and how hard it is and all that. I was saying to you, Harry, when we were just sitting shooting the breeze before we decided to go live together. Sorry, 2 seconds. I was saving this for when we came on. This is it's a Sunday for me, so cider and Sigs Day. Have one with me, guys, if you want. Cheers to yous. Oh, Harry's underwater, of course. Professional athlete here, trying to get that Saudi contract. Your essence.
My rare essence.
So I was thinking, like, I've been covering Sorare stuff for ages, and like when all the announcements were made about the changes we're going to have, like for me, a lot of these things were kind of obvious, so we're going to happen. And again, I'm not going to say like go back and watch the videos and all that. Most of you guys probably have, but if you haven't, like for me, like a lot of this stuff has been it's been there to be seen for a while. It was going to happen. Like classic was always going to be like mega hard, just with the amount of, because before if you think about whoever your club is and whatever region it is you compete in, you obviously had a region to play in, but you also had about 3 cap modes and then a special and then maybe all-star and maybe under 23, whereas now like everything's kind of funneled in there. And I spoke on the division system about how like you probably end up in this kind of bathtub situation of like you can't really get out of where you're at, because of the quality of cards, etc. So it feels like a lot of that stuff is kind of coming to the fore. And one thing I thought would be really good to kind of showcase, talk on, whatever, I was going to record the video, but I thought it's probably better as a live. Harry was happy to join me as well for co-coms or co-piloting on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Is and again, one of the things I think the benefit of my content certainly is, and Harry's definitely in this boat as well, is like because you've played the game for so long, our clubs, maybe yours has changed a little bit, Harry, because you were an under 23 guy and you've moved into this and moved into that, but for the most part I think some of my pieces in my gallery have been quite long standing. But I think like between both galleries and even other people that make content, I'm not saying this is an exclusive thing to me or Harry certainly, but like I do think that a lot of the things I've got going on in my club are a good example of if you could fast forward yourself into playing this for 5 seasons? What would it look like 5 seasons down the road? Kind of some of the things that I've got going on, and I've tried to make sure I've enhanced in this transition period or the handover period that they've had. It's something that we should all, I don't know, but keep in mind or whatever. But anyway, I'll kind of get stuck into it a wee bit. 2 things. I'm going to put this comment on screen. I'll read it in a second. But some of you guys will have heard me mentioning the NYC collection I've got, right? So this was a huge overpay for me, like massive at the time. For some of you that weren't around or don't remember, this was the first season we had MLS cards that didn't have a big head for a start. NYC were coming into that season as reigning champions. It was the first time they'd ever won the league. I've supported NYC since inception. Like the very first year they went up and running, like I watched every preseason game when they had like David Villa waiting forever for Pirlo and Lampard to showing up. I remember all that stuff, you know, and then, you know, Patrick Vieira and Jason Kreis, like I was there for all of that, you know. So this was quite a special collection for me on a few levels, right? But when it comes to the Sorare detail of this, when you see how much I've paid for these cards, there is no one who is going to be buying in-season cards this year that is going to have such a huge drop-off as what I've had with some of these guys, because I was buying these guys exactly at the point of like limiteds really changing the marketplace, second division cards really changing the marketplace for availability of cards, different options and price points and whatever. And the majority of this collection is jersey mints, like the vast majority of it. Does it tell me somewhere? 17 out of the 14. Now, I think there is only actually 2 that exist that I don't own. One of them is the Sean Johnson, which is owned by an account that's got all one-ofs. He's obviously number 1, the goalkeeper. And the other one is Santi Rod, who the guy was just always trying to extort me for it. And I just never ever bit on it. So I'm only missing 2 jersey mints that exist. Or maybe actually this Chris Glosser guy. I'm just seeing I've got number 22 of him and he's number 2. So I've not got him. I'm missing 3. But the rest of them I've managed to get, which is cool. So what I wanted to look at is how much this collection cost me and what it's won me so far. And then there's a kind of little kind of branch in a tree and whatever we can kind of run through from there. It's good that I've got Harry here as well, so it's not totally dead air and goes all boring or whatever if I'm writing down numbers or losing my pen. I don't know where the hell it's went. But all I was going to do is click through these guys. Does it Sorare Data maybe do some of this for us? No, I don't think it does. See how much they cost us, and we'll have a look at some of the rewards I've pulled. And I say there's some stuff we can. So what I'm hoping to kind of show with this a little bit is like if you bought an in-season collection this year and you're buying like day 1 prices and you can see the prices coming down, kind of how you should be ending up with it, and then what does that mean for next season, the rest of this season, the future you've got on Sorare or whatever else. Does that try and look for my pen, Harry? Is that kind of say all that stuff? Does anything kind of jump out at you or spring to mind?
No, not really. No. If you can't find a pen, little Google sheet maybe, so the lads can see.
Oh, maybe actually, yeah, maybe that.
You could just copy all the prices in. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something a bit more.
Yeah, a bit more
visual.
Yeah, I love that. Let's try it. New Google Sheets, awesome. Right, cool. So player 1 we've got here is Tinnerholm. Now I can tell you straight away, Tinnerholm has done jack shit for me. He went blue X quite quickly. Went back to Malmo. So let's see. We've got Tinnerholm here. What did Tinnerholm cost? No. This isn't. There we go. This is what I want. So 67 quid. Oh, sorry. This isn't changing pages. 67 quid on auction. First owner. Number 3. All that fun stuff. And then what's he won me? Absolutely nothing. That's 67.
This might be a sickener, this one, Connie.
No, mate, it is. I see, without doing it, I know it's going to be, because I know how much I've paid for some of the bigger cards in this, you know. 67 quid. So let's see how far some of the actual guys that play football, you know. So let's see, we've got Chanot here. 107 on auction. And what did Chanot do for us? He's done a wee bit for us. Some freshies and stuff. Right, so let's yeah, he's done already, hasn't he? So let's see, we've got Chanot. He's done 107. And then what do we reckon we call this for yield? So gaming yield is the actual Cali Dosh, isn't it? So wow, 403. That's not bad.
The issue is this is gonna like multiply, isn't it, in a wrong way, if that makes sense. Like say if there was another card that did like the help, another New York card, the one Renato Augusto, does that not? Do you get what I'm saying? Or not
Yeah, they were
Renato?
in the same lineup. They kind of have a piece of the
Yeah.
pie each. So what I think I'll do is of this 403, give him 22% of it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's see how that works. That's a good point.
So I'll just call it 20%. So that's going to be 80 quid, basically.
Yeah.
So let's see. Chanel, 80. And then the cards value we're looking at then and now. Well, let's see, who do we have? Ogiwara, I've just won and kept. Augusto Zaniolo, sold at the time. I don't even remember this guy. Hinterseer. So let's see. I don't even need to guess. Hinterseer, what did I do with him? Traded him away. Oh. There we go.
That's
Number 7, Alfredo Morelos. That's not bad, is it? Did I give him any cash? Cash sent £3. We won a Hinterseer. So that's funny. So I could probably equate Morales as free. Because, or well, would I count him as £3? How would you think of this? Would we think of him as £3.96, or do we take £3.96 off of Chanel and just say Chanel's giving us him for nothing?
Yeah, this is where the accounting gets funky, doesn't it?
So
Really
yeah, I'm going to say Morales is 0. Personally, right? And again, feel free to argue with me if you want to. Zaniolo, what did we do with him? Zaniolo, we sold for 144. So 80 plus 144 is going to be 224. And then Renato Augusto. Oh yeah, no, so I don't want to give him that full amount. What did I sell Zaniolo for? 144. So I want to give him 20% of that. This is where I need the calculator. 22%. $144 times 0.22. 3168. So 3168 plus the 80 is plus 80. Yeah, 11168. Awesome. And we've got a Morales in there as well. This is going to be a long stream. It might be. We might get a bit of a roll. Might get going a bit quicker. And then Renato Augusto, what did we do with him? Some of these cards haven't won fuck all, by the way, so that'll come into this as well. We traded this guy to Basel. And
oh wow, Bulka's in goal again for Poland.
Oh, you're fucking joking, man.
I swear to God.
Yeah, so I just batch sold these guys. This was when Marcos Llorente was linked to Saudi Arabia, I remember. So I might even just forget that. What was they valued on the day? 25. So give him 22%. I'll add a fiver on for that. That's fine. So Chanel costs 107. His yield is at 116 without me counting this Ogiwara. So let's add Ogiwara in. That's going to be £3, basically. His contributions. So yeah, 119. So actually Chanel is just about up, which is fun. Unexpected start.
I'll take it.
Right, Maxi Morales player edition card. This was a hard one to get. I remember, I think I had to trade a Carter Vickers for this when Carter Vickers was going for surgery. And yeah, I think that's what I did for it. I got him from Viviano. He plays Sorare. This is his name, Coronito. Cashed in 85 quid or 88 quid plus the Vickers. So I'm going to call. How did I get the Vickers? This is the rabbit hole we go down here, isn't it? I got it from Sorare on a trade, which is, he bought Carlo Hosa off me for a bucket of money and gave me the Vickers on top. So, valuation that day, it's about 400 quid, actually. So, this is a wee bit where it gets mucky, isn't it? Valuation that day. Cash sent.
It's just like a rabbit hole, isn't it?
How would you value this in? Did you think about the Vickers? I suppose valuation that day was still about the same. I don't think I had the Vickers long, to be honest.
It's got, I mean, that's the only real way to do it. But even then, it's still very, subjective, but I would say valuation on the day. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say Maxi cost me 580, 595.
Mm-hmm.
So Maxi 585.
Hatligen's asking what we're up to.
We're looking at, even in the worst case scenario, if you spend this amount of stupid money on cards, how it might not actually turn out terribly bad. So this is just for that Coronito guy. So let's just, he's not actually won me anything. Wow. He's won me 0 since I've had him. Great card, eh?
Mental.
So he's won 0. And actually, let's say this isn't really to prove like, oh, you know, like the NYC collection is a demon or anything. It's kind of the opposite, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, Hebert. Jersey number Hebert. He cost us on auction 58 quid. That's a bargain. I think he was bombed out the team at the time. And it was a number 9, so the auction happened kind of early. In terms of like the running for the season, 58.62. And let's see, Hebert's been not too bad for me since he's moved to China as well.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, he has been. He has been quite bad for me. 2 thresholds, and that Ogiwara. So he's on for a 5. He's on for, let's see, 1458 times point. Oh, he was actually 41% of this. So let's
Like
give
his
him 40.
points were, yeah.
So he gets 590 for that. 598. And then of the money, we're looking at 6301 times 28% as an average, plus the 598. So he's returned 2362. Half. Which isn't too bad.
Could be worse.
Considering that he's Maxi Morales. Luis Barraza, this could be fun. He played a little bit. So we traded him in, the number 13. Let's see how he cost us for this one. He's won me 4 cards. That Hinterseer he's won again. He helped with that. Renato Augusto, he helped with that. Okay, cool. So he's helped with all these cards. And he's got 12%. So I think I'll probably just do the 169 by 12 for this. 169 by 12. So fuck all. £20. Very bad scoring goalkeeper. Barraza. 20, 28. And then what did we actually do to get the Barraza? I know we traded him. So we traded a big head plus 27 quid. And the big head cost me £57. So 57 plus, what was it? 27 is 84. So Barraza cost 84, return 20. Awesome. We'll get through this. Maybe I should have prepped this a little bit. Thiago Martins. He's won it for some other people. He's only actually won me 2 things. So he's won me 2 crappy cards. 4% is his contribution. Jesus, man. So let's see. 86.58 times 0.04. £3.46. Thiago. £3.46. And then let's see. What did Thiago cost us? We traded him to Sunshine. I think I probably had another one. Yeah, and we've paid 20 quid to jersey swap. And what did I pay for the original? I got him from Pavel for 47. So 47 plus 22 is like 70.
Mm-hmm.
So say it cost us 70. Let's see. Callens. This will be a fun one as well. So he went blue X on us quite quickly. We got him in a trade. Somebody won him. And I basically just traded this Jose Abea in a jersey swap kind of situation. And does it say what value he was on the day? It says he was worth a lot more, but I think he was worth bugger all. This is why somebody did that. Why I did this.
Right, yeah.
Let's see Abea.
Tom saying you don't need to do half of this math. It's all there on the screen as the small number. What small number?
Let's see. Like this one? No. Oh, that! These wee numbers.
Which one?
Oh, sorry, wrong screen. So like these little numbers here.
Right. So that's his portion of it, is it?
Yeah. Awesome. So Callan's has helped us with 60 quid stuff and 270 quid cards. Oh, I love it. Aye, this will speed things up big time. Plus 59, 60.
Callan's done his fair share of helping.
331, 60 is probably the best card so far we've seen. And so what I need to work out is, what did I pay for the original Callan's? So the original Callan's cost me 240. So you use up a bit of that ROI that he just gave us.
Yeah.
Amundsen's been fun since he went to the crew, but he's been a bit of a pain in the ass to 112 he cost me. Multi. 112. Then let's see what Multi has given us in SO5 rewards. So in terms of cash, 43.25. Cards, 63.73. Great catch by the chat, by the way. 106.98. Let's go speed things up. 106.98. I say, guys, I was going to record this, and I thought we'll just go live and chat some shit. But do you think you'll have any collections be this harsh on the ROI, Harry?
I've only got 5% collection. I'm trying to think how much I would have paid for it all, though. I don't know, I really don't know. Yeah, there'll be a few dodgy ones, but let's have a look. SO5 rewards. I don't know. What did I pay for this? History. I won him. I don't know. No, I don't. My only 5% collection I bought. Yeah, because I bought one in a bundle, see, and it doesn't give you the actual amount that you paid.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to track that, isn't it?
Bugger, yeah.
Alfredo Morales, we just seen we got for nothing, which is fun. What did has he done anything for me? I think he's done two things for me. £8.81. So where was Morales? £8.81. That's fun. And that kind of works out that way. Where are we? It's not a big collection, this one, thankfully. So we should catch it quite quickly. Jason. Who did we get, Jason? We swapped my one and a tenner. And then what did my one cost me in the first place? No, it's the same one I'm looking at again. This one I want to look at. What did he cost me £18. And then what did I do in the trade? A tenner. So £28 for Jason. Oh, shit, I closed the wrong tab.
He's still playing, isn't he, somewhere?
Yeah, he's at Aalborg now. So Jason, £21. And let's see what's he won. Nothing. Oh, there we go. That was easy. But yeah, I've closed a tab that I didn't mean to close, so I need to go and open it back up again. Collecciones. And we got to Jason. Hi, we're about halfway. Acevedo. This won't take long because a lot of these guys have been rubbish, let's say. So let's see, Acevedo. We got in a trade from Spicer. This took ages to get done, by the way, because Spicer won this guy. And I was always just trying to, he said he would jersey swap me for free. And then he took forever to accept the offers. I had to keep sending them. I think it was when basketball came out. And
Okay, yeah.
I bought him for 63.55. Acevedo, 63.35, and he's won. I think I just seen that he's won nothing there. This is the wrong one. We want this Acevedo, and he's won me one thing. Gudmundsson, £3.44. £3.44.
And some cash, isn't it?
Oh, was there cash there?
Yeah, also.
No, not for me. That was for Fraser.
Got you, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a lot of screens here jiggling around. Just try to clean the tabs up so they're all over the place as well. Cool. Keaton Parks. This jersey number was quite hard to get because it's number 55. I managed to get it off auction. Just couldn't believe they actually spat it out. Or no, actually, I missed it. I think someone else picked it up. I thought I got it. I don't think they realised it was a jersey number. I think that made it a bit easier for me to pick up. The offer isn't shown on screen here for some reason. Let's try it again. Yeah, the offer's not coming up on Sorare data. Try it again. No. That's annoying. I wonder if it'll tell me on Sorare, because Sorare's got a nice wee page now for some of this, depending on how the deal was done. Let's have a wee peek at that. Rare. Serial number, jersey match. Parks. Let's see. Parks. View more. So I gave him number 3 Parks and £4. And number 3 Parks cost me, wow, look at that.
£400.
So that's 403 for Parks. Now, Parks has been handy, so maybe he's won something.
He surely has.
Let's see the tail of the tape. He's won some bits. He's helped. He's not pulled anything big for us, has he?
No.
So what's he got here? 39 plus 60. I'm just going to call that 100. I know I've rounded up a wee tiny bit. Sorry, guys, but
he's pulled back 25%.
Yeah, it's not terrible, is it? I guess.
No.
This is going to be one of the very first painful ones, right? Number 8, Thiago Andrade. Now, he'd been in MLS for a few seasons and he was a killer. But by the time he got a card, he wasn't. Can we do this? All-time New York City. Wow, scores were never really great, actually. But he felt like he was really good.
He had a little purple patch, didn't he, there in like game week 260 odd.
Yeah. So let's see. History. What did we do to get this? We got him off Roddy Boss, so you know it wasn't cheap right away. So I sent him 0.7's worth of gear.
Jesus.
Value that day, 0.6. How do you weigh this up? I had to overspend on it. I guess that's what I spent, isn't it? So we'll go with that.
Yeah.
I've already got a Thiago on this list, so we'll call him Andrade. And we're looking at 112. Now wait till you see what he's won. Wait until you see what he's won. SO5 rewards. He's won actually more than I thought.
Yeah, but he has, isn't he?
It's not much more than I thought. I'll catch up with the chat in a second, guys. Harry, if you can do a wee bit of chat watch for me as well, in case I miss anything good, sorry.
Yeah, have a look what's going on.
But yeah, so we're talking about 15.34 plus 38.22, which gives us 53.56 for Andrade. 53.56. He's in China now, so he does have time to redeem himself. We did get him off a bot. I say that was a huge over. I knew that when I'd done it, it was a big overpay, but I wanted it. The next one we've got is Tati. Now, again, he was on fire in MLS. This is before his transfers or anything like that. And we got him on a trade from AAA Plus, where he's gave me Tati, and I've gave him 0.11 of gear.
It's fucking mad, isn't it?
But look at what I've actually gave him.
Yeah, it ain't much gear, but yeah, that's mad, isn't it? Was that when limiteds were like popping a little bit, was it?
Yeah, so maybe all your Azabal might have been 0.1. That kind
Yeah,
of level, you know, and the rookies might have been 0.05.
bonkers, isn't it?
I don't know how Edward Michu must have been worth a lot. So I think he was rumoured to Celtic temporarily. That's why I had him.
Yeah. Ah, okay.
And then he's taken
That's
a wee
funny.
spike. So I think this is maybe a wee bit jiggery pokery. But I do think Tati was selling for those kind of levels back then.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he
Value
probably
that
was.
day. Yeah. So
Mm,
I don't think I've actually really overspent on this. I would much rather have the Tati than those free limiteds and two rares.
yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, big
But I
time.
think that's what we put on the spreadsheet for cost on Tati. Because he was probably one of the best forward in MLS for a good wee while, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Around
he was
this
unreal.
period, they just won the
Depart.
league, and
I'm just saying, depart to Corinthians is here we go.
yeah, that was decent. It's kind of a part of the reason I wanted to do this video as well, because I've been forced into this challenger region that I just
It's
wanted.
sucking you back in.
I just wanted this NYC collection to just tick along and try and wash its face eventually.
Right.
I've had that many
Yeah.
cards transfer now that he's actually done okay for me. He's won some stuff for the other guys, so we'll filter it out to just being me. So not terrible. A lot of freshies. And then he's helped me with that Somerville win a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of recent.
Recent one, yeah.
But we've got 53.25 plus 177 flat, 230
Mm-hmm.
and 25 pence. I knew that was going to be a big one. Kevin O'Toole might be in profit, by the way, with this one. Because it's Kevin O'Toole. So let's see. I paid £9. I paid a tenner to jersey swap it, and the original one I had cost me £24. So 24 plus, let's call it £35. £35, and no, not quite. O'Toole, 35, and then his one is. Let's just call that a fiver.
Yeah.
And then we got into Magno. This is probably going to be the sorest one, because I've got like no fun out of this Magno at all. Jersey mint, number 43, max power, max level. He's starting to do some bits at Corinthians.
Yeah.
I paid 878 for it straight.
It's weird. It's showing me on Sorare actually that Surupski's starting.
Yes. Please
I
be.
don't know.
Please be the way. Please be the way.
Let's have a look. SofaScore showed me Bolka.
By the way, Magno
Go on.
helped me win Taki Kubo, which is
Ooh, that's a big one.
that is a big one. Under 23, 6th. I don't know who would have been playing for when he done that. It must have been NYC, I suppose.
Oh yeah,
he helped with that.
Skorupski's in goal. Yeah.
Yes. Bro. Helps me. But yeah, okay, so he's 800 quid, but he's then brought back 2178 in cash portion, and his portion of the £700 of players he's helped us bring in is 163. So that's 184.78. And maybe one of the things that's hard to factor into this, Harry, that you kind of alluded to earlier, is like, even though these percentages stand up, like if I didn't have Magno, I might not have had an under 23 team to win Taki, and then those
Right.
pieces might have went somewhere else. And so even though he was only 22% of the score, nothing too incredible, it's kind of like he made the team happen. So there's maybe a wee bit of that would come into it if you really wanted to get pedantic. Now, Sean John, he surely done all right for us.
You'd hope so.
Surely. Look at what I paid for him.
Wow.
So he's got big shoes to fill here, doesn't he?
Big time. I reckon he's done half.
I reckon he's done half. He's got a good tail of the tape, by the way. Oh,
Yeah. Just under.
not bad on top end numbers.
Mm-hmm.
He's been involved in a good bit. Rafi Guerrero, that's a good win. Andrea Cambiasso Limited. Don't know why he's won that. Anderson Lopez. Nobody really that great. That's weird, that limited day. Must have been it's underdog limited.
Yeah.
So we've got 79.70. 352. 430, 170. You going to say something there? Sorry.
No, I was going to say as big as it's got so far, isn't it? As like a raw number.
I think so. Yeah. Cody Mizzle is definitely one as nothing. Oh no, actually, he's not. That's
Wow, that's mad.
that's a 4-man freshie he's helped us with.
That is incredible.
So it's 0% of the score. Do we give him anything?
I mean, he's in the squad. I mean, if you didn't have him, like you might not have had another goalkeeper to fill the lineup. So yeah, he takes.
I might not have had another DNP keeper because that's what he is specifically. Is a zero
Right.
keeper.
Unless Sean John was just suspended or something. Could have that happened? Or no, that wouldn't have happened.
0 points. He's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
DNP keeper. These will be
Interesting.
midweeks and stuff, like 4-man effort.
Yeah.
So what do we
I
give
think
him?
he
Do we give him a
deserves it.
tenner? A fiver off each of them?
I think he deserves it. Yeah.
Let's give him a tenner, I think. What did we pay for him? We got him off Pavel, so we might have got him cheap.
Yeah.
This is actually quite a busy trade. Oh, I got a bunch of guys off Pavel. I got Zelalem, I got Hack. So how do we think about this?
Yeah, that one's tricky, isn't it?
Value that day for those guys were all £35. I remember them all being washed and like dying in Pavel's gallery, which is how I managed to get them for like Falco and Tedic, who was a blue X, and Finlay, who wasn't playing football, when this Valentini guy, valuation that day for the cards I gave was 70 quid. You know what I mean? Like the cards I gave were only that hot. I'm going to do this and divide it by 4 personally. So I'm going to say it was worth like 9 quid.
Yeah.
8 quid, 9 quid, yeah.
But yeah.
Mizzle. Let's say 9 quid to round it up, and he's brought back a tenner. Let's give him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the first player in profit. Wee Cody.
Mm-hmm.
And we get Chris Gloucester. He's probably done nothing for us either. Let's see, what did we get him for? That was in that Pavel trade, so we'll call him £9 as well. And he's won nothing. So we've got Gloucester. We're almost at the end, guys. Gloucester, £9, 0. Cool. And then we've got Latinovic. I think he was in that trade as well. And he's definitely won us nothing. Rewards, yep, nothing. Let me see in that Pavel trade. No, he wasn't. I paid £3 for him. So that's fine. Latte. What's that say? £3.50? £3.54. Return 0. Almost there, guys. We've got through the hard miles. Santi, if someone's going to be in some clean profit here.
Surely
Santi boy has done it. Right, what was the spend? 546 from Basel. That feels like a good start.
Yeah.
Santi. Especially compared to Andrade and Magno. They were like double or treble the price of this almost. Magno was... Well, and Tati was 1136. Magno... Nah, it wasn't quite double. Where's Andrade? I always think Andrade being one of my biggest losses. Andrade was 112. Big. So Santi maybe will make up for this a little bit. Let's see what's the one is. There's only one for me, which is good. Iodine, he's a regular winner. Openda, Singo, Almendra, Devikas, Take, and some of these crappy ones that we've seen elsewhere. Rafi Guerrero. Oh yeah, he's done all right, hasn't he?
That's the most so far. Over 500 quid.
Yep. 44.52 plus 474. 518. Almost break even on him.
That's a first.
It is.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Zelalem is going to be nothing, I know he is, but I think he was in that Pavel trade actually, wasn't he? Yeah, he was. So we'll call Zelalem 9 quid, and he's won nothing. Zel 9 0. And then I think that'll be the last one that we're on to after him. Yep, Hack. Now, Hack maybe has done something for me. He was in that Pavel trade also. Yeah, so he's worth £9 to us. He's won nothing. Look well. Hack. Right, okay, so for you guys that have been here waiting for me to put this all together, I'm not actually that proficient on spreadsheets, so I'm not too sure I'll be able to get this to tally itself up real quickly. Let's see, can I just highlight them and it does the wee cheat for us? How do you get it to just do all the maths?
Do equals, so like make another cell and then go like equals sum open bracket, and then highlight everything.
Equals sum, yeah. Open bracket. Yep.
And then close bracket. And then it should click enter and it should work.
5571.
Yeah. What's that cost?
Yep.
Yeah.
Equals sum bracket. Oh yeah, done it for me already.
Oh yeah, it shows it for you. Okay.
2-2.
I mean, I've seen a lot worse.
Yeah. So part like this for me is like my in-season collection that I've bought at mad pricing, and then like after a few game weeks, the price comes down. You maybe feel like you maybe lost some value and all the rest of it. And these guys have won some stuff. It's really been Santi, Butte, and Sean John. They were the two ones that really stood out for me. I don't remember Chino. Oh yeah, Chino did half okay. Chino's actually washed his face. Chino's actually in profit.
Yeah.
Which is fun. So it's not been too much there. Tenor home is a 0. Let's put that in.
Malte's close of being in profit, $7 off.
Yeah, Malte's not too far, you're right.
Grey is.
Grey is in profit, yeah. Grey's done well.
The worst is Andrade, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Where is he?
It's like a 5% return.
It's rank rotten, isn't it?
Yeah. How is the Morales? How did sorry if I wasn't getting it, but obviously you got 0 in there.
So somebody that Chino won, we traded for that.
Got you.
So I've kind of discounted that as we won him.
Fair.
So I won Hinterseer, and then we shipped him.
Yeah.
For Morales, who's never kicked a ball or whatever. So like I said kind of earlier on, there's a bunch who's joining us live. Fist bump to everyone. But when I look at this, when I look at the layout of like classic and how the game works and all the rest of it, the number one strategy for anyone playing this game at the moment is of course to play in season. We had someone chatting earlier saying that they've sold their classic to do so even earlier, because you've got less people to compete against. You're going to win cash money. You're going to get some essence as well. And this, again, not to beat a dead horse, like I said earlier as well, but Harry, you definitely know this as well, is essence is the main way to win cards now. Like, there's just no getting around it. Like, if you look at a lot of those cards that we won there with the majority of these guys, Hinterseers and Loidices and all these other randoms, they're shite. They've been rubbish. And if you can trade them away, cool. If you get somebody to buy them off you, result. But with essence, like, I know everyone's like RNG mad at the moment. You don't need to. Yeah, I mean, you can really just forget those wins and kind of like imagine, like, if you look at some of these guys and imagine all the crap wins, and you could just roll them up and say, give me a tier 1. Like, that's kind of the way this is kind of built to work now, if you get me.
Yeah.
But you're going to pay a lot for in season. And then, like I said, for a wee while as well, like, people think like buy in season, win money, sell in season, wait, and go again next year. But you're not going to be able to sell an entire in-season rig. It's probably not optimal either, is it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, as far as that cycle goes, I think it's buy in season, win cash, keep in season for next season, turn into classic, and with that cash, buy a new in-season rig. Right? That's kind of like, I don't think, like you said, you're not gonna sell that in-season rig that turns classic for more than what you paid for it. It's impossible, unfortunately, in how the game mechanic goes. But the yield is the most important thing. Is what have you yielded, what cash have you won from that in-season rig, to then go in, if you want to withdraw or go again next season type of thing and roll it over. But yeah, that's the cycle, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but and like buying in season cards every year isn't going to be for everyone. The majority of people won't be buying a full setup year after year. Some people might not be too bothered about it and all the rest of it. But I think, like, if you're playing this game, like, you'll start off with your first, whoever you're playing this season, fucking West Ham, Aston Villa, fucking Roma, or whatever it is. NYC here. And then when you roll into next season, maybe you're going to play with a different a different club or something like that, then that's when they all start to dovetail. Because when I've got that NYC collection, I'm buying that for my heart more than anything. I'm buying that because I want the title winners. I want the jersey mints. It's the first time they've had actual cards. It's not just been a big fucking head. And
Right.
most people's first club or first venture into Sorare is going to have a lot of that in it somewhere. You might be buying the club you support. You might just buy players you like or something. But you're normally grasping onto something you know a bit about, I think.
Yeah. You've got to be, if you're coming into this game and you're looking to buy a collection of someone or multiple collections, yeah, you are going to gravitate towards teams you kind of semi know, I'd hope, because otherwise you're just going in blind. But like, I think, Laird's spoken about it as well with his Ren collection. Like, he's openly admitted, like, he wouldn't do it if, now, like, you wouldn't do the NC. Well, I say you wouldn't, but I'd like to think you wouldn't do that one now, obviously. So, like, it's one of them, isn't it? At the time, if you could get away, you could absorb doing that, Quinny, right? Because there was an abundance of, opportunities elsewhere, and players were going for X amounts, and you could do that. You could get away with it. My example of this is making the Welsh World Cup collection that don't even have any utility. I paid probably over £100 for that collection. I can't even do anything with it. Like, it's just there. Never mind, an actual collection that you can play in the game. So, there was a time when you could get away with things like this and buy all the gold versions of, the World Cup players. Like, that was a thing. And it's cool for me. I was there, and like, I love it. Like, I wouldn't change it. Would I do it right now? No, because, cash money and ETH is all a bit more scarce, right? Like, you're just not going to do that because the game was an in-season classic last time, when we were doing this. Same for this UR collection. Like, I think the biggest thing I've learned, and this just might be my experience with this specific collection, lots of one-offs. Like, I got a ton of one-offs, a couple of jersey mints in there as well, I think, sprinkled in. I don't have everyone. I really need Zion Suzuki, really, because he's the main card that's like done well out of this collection. But there's only like 5 of him in existence. Like, he didn't get many mints this season, last season, sorry. But like, the only card right now that's like semi-valuable is this Ito that's moved to Ghent, who's moved in a different region, of course. I know, Nishikawa's still playing, whatever, maybe carries on. I don't know. But like, all the main guys like Saskai, Schultz have all moved to like Dubai and stuff. Akimoto, to be fair, has moved to Leuven. Ohata's still an okay card. Ogiwara, like you mentioned, has gone to Zagreb. Like, there's still players that are playable, but like, are they going to make my best teams? No. But is that a J League's collection fault, if that makes sense, or is it just the average collection isn't gonna, the dovetails aren't even gonna turn out that amazing for you, like your New York one? There's a couple of decent situations, but you talk 30 cards, handful of usable, if we're being completely honest. Similar in my UR collection. There's going to be other examples though where like maybe 10 cards are usable. The chances are 30 cards ain't going to be usable. Like, 30 out of 30 is impossible. So is the lesson, don't get a J League collection? Like, maybe, because chances are the majority of that collection isn't going to like have, lasting value for you. Like, don't get me wrong, I've probably paid this off because I won Champion Asia like twice in a row. Like, I did well. I think that Schultz is one Schultz. Like, I won 2 of him and sold 1, whatever. Yeah,
How have you not got that Suzuki? But now, how have you not got that?
There's only 5 in existence, or 6. Yeah, like, he doesn't have many cards of that year. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
That's brutal.
I know. So if whenever comes up, I will have to somehow get it, because you'll be auto 5% or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just think if I were to do it all again, because this is my first the first time I dived into like, you know what, let me go get a collection. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this was around the time where collections started popping up and whatever. Before that, I didn't really care because it was under 23 and no one really, whatever. Effortless glory for sure. That's just how the game is going now. It's not about like what the card's going to sell for necessarily. It's more, what can you win with those cards? Like, that is how we're going to need to see this game. It's not about, I bought in season Rodri for £1,000 at the start of the season and I'm hoping he's 2,000 by the end of the season, because that isn't going to happen, because you don't have the in-season utility out of it, basically. That's just the nature of how this game has had to go. And,
the only thing that kind of goes against that is if like the user base on the site trebled or something like that. That's the only thing that would maybe go against it. But like Harry's saying, that
Maybe.
the way it goes is like, you can play in season for 38 games of the year, and if you pick up your Rodri with 6 games to go at the end of the season, it's not going to be the same value as when he's got 38 games to go, sort of thing. So, and that's a dynamic as well. I've quite enjoyed getting in on. The end season dynamic as such hasn't been as strong as it is now, but we've definitely seen guys get like fire sale stuff towards the end of the season because they're going to transition from Asia to Europe or Europe to Asia, or the in-season bonuses going, and you're going to sell them. So there's a buying opportunity with that sometimes, depending on how you want to look at it. But I do think like your Uruba example, the NYC collection I've got here, are really good like extreme examples. Like if you did pick if these clubs were in Europe, they would be really poor examples of a good collection because there's very little dovetailing going on, like you've said. But because they are like external, I've had a few guys go to Europe, I've had a few guys go to Brazil, I've had a few guys go to Argentina. And with Japan, it's just a wee bit more fraught with they could just disappear, like, because there's just less kind of safe landing spots. But if you think about this in a kind of European context, it's a question about Celtic I'll come to in a second. Sorry, guys, I've been going through batteries like nobody's business.
Quinny, you need to get the battery I've got, the one that doesn't need charging.
I do. I may just switch to the second camera actually, because we're in the stream now. We've been going for a wee bit. Nobody really cares about the fancy camera. So we'll just sit on the second one. But ideally, when you're doing this in Europe, like you're picking a collection that has a good squad, and I've got a few good examples of them. I would say in my club, in the likes of like Sociedad and Leipzig. Like the Leipzig collection now, by the way, is a vintage year because like if I get Soboslai into this, I've got Angelino, I've got Forsberg, I've got Guardiol, I've got Olmo, Lima at Bayern, and Kunku at Chelsea, Soboslai at Liverpool. There's no strikers in this, which is a bit prohibitive. But there's Brobbey, different region, but yeah, he kind of works where he is. I suppose Forsberg is as well, actually. But this collection has like a solid, like I knew it when I bought it, and I did it with 4 collections, but even and I just did it because I like Leipzig and I just like matching cards and stuff. Yeah. But when I look at this, there's firmly like half a dozen players that will have strong careers at Leipzig and after, if you know what I mean. Exactly. So getting a collection like this to 3%, I actually just got to 300 points today to get the wee badge. Somebody timed in for me, which was cool. But that would be a much more appropriate like European example of like buying in season, but if you are going to go the hog and get to 3%, 4%, 5%, you don't want to have an NYC collection like me where it's like Chris Gloucesters and Latinovic's and Tinnerholms and Alfredo Morales's and Gideon Zelalems that are all blue and red X after a year. You want to make sure there's more than one Santi Rodriguez in it. And if I can come back to the kind of NYC part of it, even if it is like a club you love, I'll come to the Celtic question in the chat as well, right? But if it's a club you support, maybe they're a strong enough force in the region they're in or the division where you fancy play your odds with them across the season or whatever, like I would with NYC if I cared about Challenger, which I don't. But what I've always did with them anyway is then go into the next season and go, right, well, I need another goalkeeper to activate now. This original collection had Sean Johnson leave and Barraza come in as number 1, so it had that kind of mitosis thing going on, cell division or whatever you call it, where one goalkeeper in a handcuff becomes 2 goalkeepers, which is great. Yeah. But then the next season they also signed Matt Freeze, so I need to get a Matt Freeze to make sure I've got that still 2 goalkeeper thing on the go. And then maybe there's a few players they sign. Maybe some guys didn't get cards last season, but they got them this season. And again, I've made sure I got this to a minimum of 3% now. I did also have Brian Kufri and Ledesma in this, but Kufri is worth like 50p. I think I traded him off a long time ago. And Ledesma was worth like a 10 or 20 quid. I traded him off ages ago, and what a mistake because he's just been absolutely killing it. When I traded him off, he was in PSV's B team and get sent back from this loan spell he had in New York, somewhat a failure. Didn't really break into the team, wasn't too convincing, although he had moments of looking all right. And I'm gutted I've not got that now because it'd be a perfect example for this. But when you kind of stretch that into season 2 and season 3, like that's what the collection you've bought in the first place gives you, is a power hold, a force in that club. And then next season, like if you imagine that this collection here, I was going to be playing in season. Celtic's a really good example of this, so maybe I'll look at in a second. But I'd then be picking up an in-season goalkeeper, an in-season midfielder in James Sands, and then maybe a couple of other in-season pieces that didn't fill the squad before. And then I've got that classic in-season kind of dual play where I can pick the best team. I know the starting 11, the projected 11, and then you can try and pick your battles. But what then the strong classic team is still doing for you is helping you win in-season cards. Because like I mentioned before, like buying a new in-season rig every year isn't going to be what everyone wants to do. It's not going to be possible for everyone either. So you need to have it in your mind or in your headspace that year one is about like clipping, get as much back as you can. And then year two is about get me into in-season as fast as possible, or help me get in-season cards to sell to other people. I'm not going to play it this year. I won't be able. My collection isn't good enough to win 5 cards in the first 2 weeks, or whatever your barometer of success is. But it's going to help me. And again, I do this with different regions, like the champion stuff. I just look to sell. I don't look to get into in-season. But with Celtic, I'm looking to get in-season because of this kind of dynamic. So despite paying like a fuck ton for that New York collection, like it's like honestly, I can play them every week. And Santi, all these numbers we've seen for ROI is to date, and that collection is now 3 seasons old. So some of that yield has came like from after they were issued, if you like, and I think like it's a good example of like a bad club to kind of pick up really expensive cards for a start. And it's not so much on the ROI that I've managed to display for it, but it's more like imagine you were even in that worst case scenario. Like you would still be left with like a powerful collection, and then it's dead easy to kind of plug in, play, and add on an extra 2% collection, an extra 3% collection year on year, and kind of compound and build it out. The alternative to that's kind of going into other clubs, which I like as well. But this was one of the, and I'm just sorting out something quickly, 2 seconds, because I forgot I'd planned to do this a little bit. I've not set my bank ready yet. Yeah, so 2 seconds.
Thinking like as much as like I think you've been more of an advocate of collections than I have, historically. And I think that stemmed from me playing under 23s and like feeling like I don't need it as much. And I still am in that camp as, a tad. Like I think it's less prevalent. Of course, someone could have like you could have a Guardiola with 3% or whatever, and that helps you in under 23. Like I get it. Like it's not as if you're playing the stacks there of these collections. So like it's like you said, it's the dovetails that are in there that can help you. But like, yeah, I am coming round to it, or I have come round to the fact that it is obviously helpful. And I mean, yeah, even like as recent as this year, like I've built a Nice collection so far. It's only on 3%, and I've only bought how many cards are there? Like 11 or 12, whatever. 2 of them have already moved, which is just mad. Like this
Jordan Latomba. I won him.
Yeah,
I sold him if I knew you were
really?
after it. I
No
gave you him
way.
maybe. It's only worth a tenner, isn't he?
Well, he's not now. He's worth 50 quid. He's moved to Feyenoord.
Yeah, challenger.
He's Gertrude's replacement. So like he's a potential like tier 1 at that point. Like if he really, kicks on, they paid good money for him. And then this Bilal Brahimi's just gone on loan to Belgium.
Nice.
And just like little things like that. Like I was expecting them to stay obviously and whatever.
That's at 3%.
Yeah, it's at 3 now, and whatever. Where will it get to in 60 odd days? I've still got bits I need to get. I need to get Bombito Klaus,
Nice.
probably Boga and Cho. Realistic, maybe they just signed Makoku on loan from Dortmund, so
could be fire.
There's a couple of fun ones. But I mainly got it for like a defensive stack, to be honest. But again, obviously, I need that Klaus to make it as good as it kind of gets. But yeah, it's just one of them where like, yeah, if I do end up, filling it out to that point, it becomes classic next season. Is there 5 cards within that 30, 25 man collection that are gonna, like you said, help me, win more in season cards next season? That's the goal. Like you don't want this team to just become derelict, if that makes sense. Like as much as they might move and stuff, you still need at least a 5 in there.
Yeah.
To help you obviously, yield again in classic, because yeah, as we know, classic ain't getting any easier. So you're gonna need powerful cards. You're gonna need good powerful cards, and Mikey's right there. A lot of the cards now have become basically as good as World Cup cards. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still like I still like the thought of being really not tight on a collection, but like, let me see if I can give you an example where I've only bought, say, like a couple of players. Like this might be a decent example. Like, okay, it's only at 2%, but like I'm using Tchouaméni, Rodrigo, Vinny, Modric. Like it'd be nice to have more cards, obviously, but like I do have Militao, but he's in a different year. So like I really like the whole, at a minimum, get to 2 to 3% on some of these. Like my Genk collection, I think I've got a team's worth, or nearly a team's worth. I have Cuesta, who's like a classic card, so I can throw out a whole Genk stack if I wanted. Is that 2%? Okay, yeah, it's not 3, 4, 5, but like because I have differentials, I don't think you need them as much as you would if you were playing like a full 5. I don't know. I'm just a big fan of like getting 2 and 3%ers and like playing with all those cards. Like this is almost a perfect example before Pepe retired, but like I was using this Pepe all the time, this Wendell. I've got Costa in a different season. Like I don't know. It's something. It feels like you're getting more out of it, if that makes sense. You know, like because you're still buying cards, but you're able to use them. Whereas like 90% of this you are a collection. I was never able to use them. I was just buying them for the sake of it, and I know they contribute to the the 5% that helps your Ito or Suzuki. Like I get it. I just don't know if it's not so much not worth it, but I just think, could that money be spent on cards that are actually going to play for you and score good points? Because those cards now are so much cheaper than before. Before, it was like, do I buy this £50 card that's going to play for you, or like this out of a collection, or do I spend like 2, 3, 4 pound on bumping up my cards that I already have? But because those £50 cards that score well from a different collection are so much cheaper now, like part of me just thinks, fucking, I'll just go and buy them and just use them.
Well, I think like you definitely need to be careful with collection going, because like a 5% collection, like we've been speaking about with Urawa and with New York, isn't for every club. Like there is some clubs where 2% is probably optimal. Like you'll get guys that will play every week, they can play together. If they move on, they'll be fine. 3% is obviously great. I try and aim for 3% for anything that's like it's gets some serious players in it, like that Leipzig thing I showed you a minute ago. Mm-hmm. But and again with the NYC one, this is kind of what I was prepping, because I wasn't going to buy any NYC cards for this year or the current season that we're in. Just think I've got the video back. There we go. I wasn't going to buy any, but then this season they brought out so many rookies. We get Zidane Yanez, who's been highly touted, Jonathan Shore, Drew Barea, who are nobodies, Chris McFarlane, who's playing in all the youths for England, and is probably going to move. He's maybe even signed for Man City. He's going to move to England soon enough anyway. 16-year-old rookie on the card. I think he's 17 at the moment. He's kind of tearing things up. But I was looking at this the other day, or even yesterday, and they've added the rookie I wanted the most this year, which is Jovan Mijatovic, who's a bit of a wonder kid that NYC have signed. Not really done much yet, but I'm going to buy him now. I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to buy in a couple of guys as well, just snap them up, because I want them. Number one, Depay and one or two other things are making me need to play, or not need to play, but like I've got like a really strong kind of potential to have one good team in Challenger for the most part. And yeah, I'm going to do it. So there we go. Jovan Mijatovic, rookie in. So he comes in, he's got 3% on him. Yeah, could get better, which is fun as well. So I do think I've ID'd like a nice club overall. Like, I think MIC are fine. Also, I like them for reasons beyond Sorare. But being part of that CFG, there is always going to be little bits of talent that come from Argentina and everything else. We'll go and get this Ojeda in as well. And this collection might end up actually getting to 4%. Maybe not today, but what these guys do, because I've had like Pellegrini go back to Argentina, I've had Heber go to China, and one or two other bits and bobs. Like, I don't mind rounding this off. This will probably be the last season, and I said this before this year came out, until they've released all these rookies. It's probably the last NYC cards I do get. Hannes Wolf is only £3. I might get him. I like this Thomas Romero as a backup keeper. He's finally moved to MLS. He's been in to NYC, I beg your pardon. He's been in a few MLS squads, and he's like backup keeper for El Salvador or whatever. So one day he might be an international utility. One day he might be a number one at other MLS club, and it will just help with some of these other MLS cards that I've got, because as much as like I don't want to buy any more MLS, I know he's went to Mexico now, but I had Giakoumakis leave Celtic for fucking Atlanta. I've got a Bada now at Charlotte. I've got these types of things happening, so I don't mind. And so part of the way I look at this, right, as well, I kind of meant to mention this before, right? But that NYC collection that we just valued at $5.5 grand, I think it is negligent, even more costly to me, to not have these two attachment collections, as it were, because like you said, if you can't still field them as a 5, even as like the New York piece, or even whatever region they've moved around into, then it's even more work. It's even more of a burden on me in terms of how much I've spent and the opportunity cost and the loss of ROI or whatever. If that makes sense. I don't know if I've said that well.
No, it does. I think maybe that effect happens less as far as like the dovetailing. Like, say if you buy a champ collection, like your Leipzig one, for example. You know, I know barring Forsberg, are any of them like not in champ anymore? Do you get what I'm saying? Like most of them are. So like, there's probably less risk doing it with a champ team on paper because more of them will probably stay in champ. And so, you know, making that 5 for next season type of thing after they're not in season probably becomes a lot easier because, like you said, a lot of your New York boys have gone all over the shop. And same for my, well, not that, my Ura have either gone, have either gone Red X or Challenger, basically. So, it's one of them where, like, you are running a risk when you're getting maybe a Challenger or Contender collection, in that, like, if you don't play champ and a few of them move there, then what you're in a, like, you made me think then a few minutes ago, like, in a weird way, if you are going down this collection route in multiple different regions and stuff, and even if you're not, by nature, a lot of them will go to other regions and move. Like, it really makes me think that, like, you do need to play every region on this game to, like, really yield from, because what's the point in having a collection if they're gonna if half of them are gonna move to a different region and you playing that region, then you're screwed, aren't you? Because you ain't playing that region. So, like, there's little things like that when I think, like, is that, it is. I think there's a valid argument to say you kind of do at a point, not at the start, but at some point, you do need to somehow be playing every region, because otherwise you're just not fully utilizing your collections.
Totally. I agree with that. And that's kind of part of the thing I was just kind of thinking there when I say, like, you know, not having the other collections tie into it is going to be a little bit negligent. But also as well, like, season 1, you might be New York or Urawa or fucking West Ham or whatever. And then season 2, you'll be somebody else. This maybe comes on to the Celtic question I got before. Somebody asked, would I still have done the Celtic stuff? Still being a Celtic fan, but if they were like Livingston or Ross County or something like that.
Right.
And the answer is yes, because when Celtic players were first available on the platform, before Celtic were licensed, like we signed Jota, we signed Maeda, we signed, even before that, we signed Jota, we signed a Jetty, and we signed like some crap guys. Celtic just did 9 in a row, and then we lost the 10th one to Rangers. So at that point of finding Sorare, we were like at our lowest, if you get me. So I think, like, you do need to be tapped into the club you support, because there might not be match winners all over the squad, but no team loses every game. So you would need to really support a terrible, terrible ass team, or they get promoted into the Prem and get stuffed, you know, kind of situation, for me to think that even a careful collection, like Harry was mentioning before, like 5 or 6 pieces that get you to 2%, I would always have that Celtic, you know, finger in the pie, as it were. But what you've said there, Harry, as well, like I kind of have been aware of, or quite mindful of, and that's why I didn't want to sell the NYC guys right off the bat, because it's like, well, if anyone moves there, then I've got cards to kind of keep them all afloat. You know, maybe when the MLS is off season, it'll be a bit more painful for me. I'll maybe need to go and buy another goalkeeper. But for example, to kind of illustrate your point again, like if we look at my club now, and we look at the Challenger region, which is a region I have bought, and I know I've bought some cards tonight, right? But I have bought 0 cards for this region, right? Like, really, since the reformat. So if we hit Challenger, and then we just take MLS out, that's all the NYC stuff, essentially, you're just going to see Celtic cards everywhere. There's a Savage, there's a Tanaka, you know, the Ben Doak.
Yeah.
And if I put them on top of the NYC guys, maybe one or two of these guys can be match winners the now or eventually. They can maybe help them or whatever, or it might work the other way around. Another thing I'm going to do as well, I'll just kind of mention this since we're talking about it now, but I probably will need to get a European challenger keeper. And this is the great thing for me about picking your collections cleverly, because I've got the choice of getting a Barkas, which I could get out of this collection at Celtic. You'll get 5% on him instantly. Or I could go into this collection and get a Connor Hazard, who's maybe not quite as nailed, a wee bit more expensive, maybe has some international utility once in a while. But if I wanted a challenger keeper, like I have an idea of where to shop already, as it were. And the other thing I was going to highlight on this was, the Doak, because some of you guys might know, I got that Doak just because he was a Celtic youth product who we lost to Liverpool, essentially. So they brought out the away kits, and he's wearing green and white. And I thought, I can't not get the only green and white Doak in existence. So that's why I done it. But the region Celtic play in is Contender. And from this collection here that I'm looking at right now, we've got Bobby Clark, just went to Salzburg. And who was the other guy that they got? I'm sure there's two. There was Bobby Clark, who they bought, and they somebody else. Bajcetic, yeah. So I'm now thinking about getting a Bobby Clark and a Bajcetic. Just to, why not? Like, I'll get them because this Doak is a 60-point card already.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So with those two, that gets a 2% collection, and that gets me some Salzburg midfield if I wanted it. Do I want it? Do I want to spend £100 on it today? No, but I'm right open to it, you know. And if I fancy it, then again, I know I've got options in the collection game to like give me more support for the Celtic cards or something, for example. I don't even mean that. I just wanted that Doak as a one piece, you know, kind of card, and it's gained an extra little bit of something for me there.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same position with that exact Liverpool collection, because I won Diaz and I won Szoboszlai, and I was on like 1%, and I was like, you know what, I was 20 points away, so I was like, let me buy a £2 out Thiago. Obviously that's not going to help, but I bought like a £5 Tsimikas, and you know, just scored a 70 yesterday for Finland, and if I need him for an international break or whatever, he's useful. And then, like you said, yeah, if you were to need maybe a Bobby Clark or something, or whoever, then you know you obviously got that auto 2%, and it just makes buying things a little bit more fun, I guess. On the offset of buying the cards.
Yeah,
£7 for Curtis Jones.
I've not been as gung ho as on buying Celtic rumours anymore, Mikey, for sure. So yeah, I've definitely kind of learned that lesson. Like I say, I do think like the main kind of thing I did want to kind of bring up on this was just like, and again, this is kind of tying into what we're mentioning, I suppose. But if you're buying a collection or you're buying your first, like, whenever you're building your first squad, you're going to have like a nub of like a club in it. Might be a goalkeeper defender pair, or you know, something like that. But that's one of the most important selections to make, because if you did want to go the full hog with it, Boca and River with Sir Fila and Mike Basson have got some great examples in the live chat here with us as well. Then like getting to the 5%, getting those other tertiary shiter cards in makes it all the more worthwhile. And again, if I can put the Leipzig collection on screen just to paint the picture, but like I've got this at 3%. Obviously, it's so far out of season that there's no chance of me getting to 5% just with no first owner bonuses and whatever, right? But at different points, this collection was a 2% collection that I was happy with, and then it was a 3% collection, and now it's so I never started this with the intention of getting every player in the club. I started it with the intention of if I got all the guys I want, where does it lead to, you know, and then how does it go? But with some of the clubs like that you may be identifying, like a Boca, a Leipzig, a Celtic, a West Ham, an Aston Villa, whatever, where you think, right, there's half a dozen players in there that have got a career in front of them, then getting the Chris Gloucesters and the Anton Tinnerholms in is way more worth it, because you're just giving them extra power for even longer if you really do think they're going to run your club or they're going to be big significant players. I think the problem is when you do it on New York City and you just think, I'm going to play MLS in season, and you buy every NYC card and like 6 of them never kick a football for the next 20 years, that's when it becomes a bit redundant.
Yeah, that's my only issue with collections in general, is like is the excess fat worth it? You know, like I just think there's so much fat on these collections to where, like, I don't know, it's a weird one.
Hugo Novoa for a tenner.
That might work.
I don't know. Who's this for? Villarreal too. Go figure. Keep my eyes on it, Rico, man. Cheers to the nudge. Love that.
Andre got a good question. What's your takeaways of the learnings to the present gameplay?
It's a great question. We're actually going to be doing a full stream on that on Wednesday. So what would I say my main takeaway to present? I think, like, I've seen this to you, Harry, before we came on, but I kind of seen the writing on the wall for a lot of this, like, when it got announced. And one of the main things I was wanting to make sure I did for myself and for any of you guys that listen to the content was, like, if you've been here before this current structure, then in my book, you're early. We're all early adopters, all that shit that we've all been hyping about and excited about. And what that will mean and how valuable that will be, we'll only know in the fullness of time as time goes on and how well Sorare does or whatever. But when I'm thinking, what do I want to show from, like, being an early adopter or whatever, I want to have, like, a strong gallery that can do A, B, and C and all the rest of it. So my main take, although I've not been, like, finishing first every week in all the competitions I play, because I've just not got that type of gallery, but I think I've been doing well so far. My main takeaways is kind of like, you know, the strategy works. Like, so far so good for me, you know, so far so rare. Right. On that one, I think I've maybe underestimated the fact that I didn't want to play Challenger, and then with the Pi transfer in there, someone else has transferred there as well today or yesterday. I've had 2 recent additions to Challenger. It's kind of unavoidable where I probably do need to get that Barcast or that Corner Hazard in now, just to make sure I've got a European element in there, even when the MLS is off. But again, time's on my side in that one. So that's maybe the biggest one that I thought I'll just play Champion and Contender. We'll get boxes, we'll get Essence, and then I don't mind rolling the dice on if it's a Champ or a Contender card, because I'll either be selling it or playing it. But with the amount of guys I've got transferring into Challenger, like, I've got a lot of guys. Alex Tellez, yeah, I don't have him, Mikey, but maybe it was partly him moving. I was tempted to buy him. So I think it's maybe that more that, like, the longer you play this game, the more mature your gallery is. Ignoring a region becomes less and less optimal, because you'll just have a few guys in there that will smash. And you're like, fuck, man, I could have had a goalkeeper and I'd have been a team, you know.
100%. I don't know. I'm trying to think my sort of takeaways. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, for me, it's just been getting back to my roots, if that makes sense. Like with under 23, like I was always there. I would just, you know, I think the Euro collection was actually kind of the first time I, like, branched out of under 23. I was like, you know what, let me give, like, this, you know, Champ Asia a go or whatever, you know, like that was actually the first time that I was a bit like, am I doing myself?
I remember it's the first non-U23 proper effort.
Yeah, I think it genuinely was. And then I was like, okay, well, I managed to win it a few times and got a bit lucky and whatever. And then you go, okay, well, then you snowball that into Champion or, you know, wherever that may be. And I ended up having more fun. I remember that was the reason why I wanted to go and branch out a little bit out of under 23, is because I just wanted to have more lineups going out. And I think this game, like where the game is now, you know, it's still, you still want quality, but you also do want to cast your net out quite far and just try and, you know, at the end of the week, you know, what do you scoop up? Do you scoop up 10 boxes, 5 boxes, you know, from 30 lineups or whatever? Like, I still want quality within those 30, 25 lineups I put out every week now. But like the game has kind of developed and evolved into a place where, like, if you've been around for a while, like, I think you do but the want to play multiple lineups and to have the most fun possible is there for me. Like I'm not playing this game to get rich. Like, you know, I'm kind of free rolling at this point. Like, I've put a lot of money in, I've taken money out, and I'm left with X. And it's just like, what can I do with X? Like, can I make it fun? Can I, you know, do whatever with it? If I win bits of cash, great. Makes me buy more cards and whatever. And yeah, like I've never actually played this game to, like, get rich. I just wanted to play a game and get good at something, you know, like I never wanted to be good at FIFA. I just wanted to be good at something else that I enjoyed. And I found my little niche in under 23, and and I'm kind of back there now, and I love it. Like I genuinely love it. And the fact we can play multiple lineups in those in that competition, in every competition, is just like fantastic. Because I was so stifled with when Rare Pro left, we had one Rare under 23 lineup, didn't we, for a while? And it was just like it's not fun. Like it ain't just fun, man. You know, to have 3 now and then 3 at Super Rare, and obviously the Road to Glory in Limited, like it is a lot more fun. And I still love scouting, and I think that element isn't gone, especially in under 23. You can still do that because you can play it's global and whatever. I do think like in some ways the scouting element is like diluted elsewhere. Like if you're playing champ, like everyone knows champ players. There is definitely elements to it, but I think that global aspect of the game, as far as like All-Star goes, I think Mikey mentioned it earlier, or somebody mentioned it earlier. That's gone, like unfortunately, and it's sad because I think that was the USP for you, Quinny, right? Without speaking for you, but I think that was one of the big sort of reasons why this game was so attractive, and it was for many of us, I think. And yeah, we still have it at under 23, fair enough, but we have it on special weeklies now, and whatever, like it's fine. But that element has definitely been diluted, and if this game wants to go mainstream or close to it, like I do get it. Like that doesn't scratch an itch for the mainstream, unfortunately. And we're just like a byproduct, or I don't know. We've just been sort of affected by it that way because we had it and we don't have it, and it kind of is what it is.
I'm with you on this one, Daniel, as well, with the essence dynamic of it. I say with the rares, I'm just kind of happy to roll with the punches. But again, when you're brand new, you get your first collection on the go. You do want that to be laser focused because you want every win. And again, this is something that's maybe a bit understated. Me and Harry have been quite lucky over the years to have some good fun and have some wins and all the rest of it. But wins are what propel you. You know what I mean? In a big way. And like when I look at this, sorry, I need to get the screen back up so I can actually see it. But when I look at sugar, sorry, the essence thing, like I think of everyone out there that's brand new, and I hear people talking about like I'm only getting like 3 essence a weekend and stuff like that, which if that's the quality of your squad's fine. I'm also kind of the same with the blue stuff, so I feel that, I know what that's like, and see if you are going to be accumulating essence slowly but surely, you really need to get lucky with a box and this kind of thing. Fuck opening it until it's at tier 2 plus, sincerely, because again, looking at those NYC cards, you can see the crap that I've pulled, like from actual card wins. You want to make sure you get the most significant prize you possibly can. And yeah, there's a bit of opportunity cost there to hanging on to it for the in-season element of it all. You want in-season cards sooner rather than later so you can play them for as long as possible or get more matches out of them and all the rest of it. But like, how many game weeks we had? 5 or something? I can't even.
Roughly, maybe a bit. Well, real ones, maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
4. Yeah.
I know you've churned yours quickly, but for me, this is me in like beginner mode. You've got a budget gallery. You're not getting wins all the time. You're really up against the whales and all the big hitters. And like I think if you're in that boat, like pulling T5 4 plus, you're going to end up in heartbreak because you will get to the end of the season and you'll do the maths on your box openings and you'll go, unless you get some good luck, like Nep did pulling a Haaland, and everyone gets a bit of luck, so maybe you do get lucky, but the majority of people do not. That's the way it goes with RNG. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I personally would hate to get to the end of the season and see that I had 400 super rare essence that I spunked across the year and I got fuck all for it. I'd much rather pull the T2 plus and the T3 plus at the end of the season and just go, cool, that's fine by me. Got good quality cards in for it. So I think like the wins, like there's a big underestimation on that, and your win might take longer, might take all season to pull that big card out of that, but you'll get it, if you pull in.
I think the issue with that, though, in some way, for people who are playing all of the regions and getting essence from all of the regions, is like a tier 3 from champ isn't a tier 3 from contender.
Fair.
So that's kind of where it gets a bit dicey, because like Laird was saying, like there's no point him ever doing the tier 4, tier 5, because if it's a contender one, it's an absolute stinker. Like, and it probably is going to be that. Whereas if it's a champ one, like you can kind of absorb it a bit better, I think. Like if you just champ and you pull tier 5 pluses, I don't think is like that detrimental in some way. I think what your strategy is correct, but I think it has nuances within like where the region essence is, I think that does come into it for me a little bit. And like, it's also that thing of, I think someone's done the math on it, but like you are better off doing it early as possible, because I think it was Sorare, is it Football Economist or whatever his name is? Sorare Economist. I'm pretty sure he did the math, and like whatever, it kind of, the one big thing that people aren't factoring in is like pulling a card today, pulling a Rodri today is worth X amount more than pulling a Rodri in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
Because the season's over, 5 months' time, the season's over. So like you have to factor that in to these calculations, and that's why I'm in the boat of just kind of rip as quick as you can, because if you are going to accumulate pretty quick, not everyone's going to, obviously, but if you want, like, I think I've gone through, so I've done one super essence at 20 and I'm back at 18, similar to where you are now. So so I managed to pull I had a 20 essence in one. It was just luck.
Of course.
Yeah. I just had 120 and I was like, you know what? That allows me to have a little gamble at the 20 plus. I think how many have I done at? I've only done 2 at rare. I've done 2 essences max. So let's call it, I've earned, say, 66 essence, maybe. So that, just over the tier 4 if I would have done it that way. And I pulled I think I've pulled a tier 2. Sorry, that's a lie. I've done 3 20 essences. So I would have had 76 essence. And in the 2 out of the 3 pulls I've done have both been tier 3s, if that makes sense. So I can't really complain, because I've done the tier 5 plus one and got 2 tier 3s and a tier 5. If I had 3 tier 5s, then that'd be obviously a bit of a nightmare. But some people will be in that position, and I kind of get it. Does essence expired? No, I don't think it expires.
No, we're led to believe it doesn't expire. Yeah. From everything, we've not had any talk of expiration ever. So I wouldn't. And again, because like, except for Champion, all the other games play all year round. So so I guess they're maybe just hoping you poison your Champion stuff with Challenger in the off season, and then the RNG can screw you over later. So I do think regions does come into it, and that's why I think like Nep's strategy has been quite clever. I think, for how quickly, if you watch his box openings, like he'll pull the 20 essence, and it's probably all out that one box or 2 boxes.
Right.
Champ.
Yeah.
He pulls his 20 champ essence. It's much more likely to be a champ card. And then when it comes to contender, he just pulls it right away. So it is going to be a contender card. You're not poisoning that champ essence and with contender stuff. You're just ripping the pure champ time every time, which is quite smart. If you are playing like multi-region, maybe that is, again, if you've got the volume to back it up. But for me, like, I don't have the volume to back it up for most of these scarcity levels. So I'm definitely stack it high and bring a big one in, because opportunity cost on getting Rodri today versus Rodri in January, I'm fine with, because I will use Rodri much longer than just the in-season bow, if you like. In theory, a Rodri is a bit different for me specifically, but just to use the example. So it depends on, is it to sell the card? Is it to play it for in-season? Is it to just bring it into your club, and now you've got like, now I've got a fucking piece. Next season's my year. I'll have this guy as my classic, and then I'll do this and I'll do that. Or
yeah, it's an interesting one, because like one of the big reasons why I want was I think it's like 500, 550. I think someone said. But like at super rare, like, because I don't have that many in-season cards, like I'm going to be now deploying a strategy where I won every weekend in Challenger Super Rare D1. I want a team in D3, D1, and I want the option to play D3, D2, D1 every weekend. So for that to happen, I need to auto relegate that D2 team every week effectively in some way, right? So like this week now, Challenger played. This is the first time I've tried it, so I'll have one in for this upcoming weekend. I'll have one in D3, D2, and D1. So far, I've won some cash in D3, hence why I want to kind of maybe target it again for this upcoming weekend. I could get stuck and whatever, but like, I want the option to play all 3. I don't want to just not have the option to play D3 if people are not looking to play that weekend, or because when it does get competitive, those D2, D1 scores can be crazy. And if I don't think I can compete there, then I'll go D3, right? But I can't do that strategy unless I have multiple in-season cards, right? If that makes sense. Like at Super Rare, like I can't even put a dud lineup in unless I have the in-season card. So that's why I was like, you know what? Let me pull that that 20 plus essence, because if nothing, he can just be a dud card every week. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that sounds stupid, but I need cards to put into that lineup because I don't have. When MLS finishes, okay, these are all in season, but like Ibarra's not MLS, neither's this guy, neither's this guy. So it's like Arvstan and Araujo, and then all these are in season. So like I have enough cards now to put one dud lineup out and one actual lineup out every weekend. And yeah, sorry, Jana isn't a challenger either. But yeah, it's one of them where that's kind of why I've done my first Super pull. Like if I get to, I think I'm going to wait to 40 for this next one. I don't think I'm going to wait any longer. I think I'm going to do tier 4 plus. So whenever that happens, obviously I'm not winning any essence this weekend from Super Rare, so that'll be hopefully in a couple of weeks. But yeah, it all depends on what your gallery needs are, I think, and where you're playing, like we've just said, right, with the regions.
Yeah, kind of broad stroke stuff for sure. But yeah, so if you've got mucky essence that's all over the shop, then yeah, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't in some regard. And yeah, it does depend on what your strategy is for card acquisition. You know, cards you get, what is the point of getting them in? Is it to sell them to bring ROI towards the gallery you've already bought? Or is it to enhance the gallery you've got already? And whatever. And I think like for me, like all the different regions do something different. So champ for me is just buy win to sell. Easy peasy. So I'm not planning on playing champ in season anytime soon. Super rare might be different, but I'm just talking about rares.
Yeah.
Contender is firmly like win as much as quick as possible. And I did a video talking about this recently, so sorry if it bores anyone or whatever. But if we just look at in-season contender, like I've won a couple. I've bought a few as well for quite nominal fees. Don't get me wrong, but winning that goalkeeper, Broholm, Ogiwara, Bukvic. I've won a few other guys that I've gave away or all that kind of stuff as well. But Bukvic, Ogiwara, Broholm, Kim Young, and then Stojkovic. It's missing a striker, but that's a squad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've got one squad built within, I know these guys were won 4 months ago, right? But in general, let's just say within the first month of the season, I've won a squad. And I've bought a few guys as well just to top it up, obviously. So, yeah, so it depends on what you're doing with each of the regions. And like I said before, I like to think, like me, Harry, a few other guys that have been playing this for a long length of time, they should show like a decent example of like, you know, when you're in your third or fourth season and you've got a collection over here and you've got a collection over there, what does that look like? How does it actually play out? How do they lock into each other? And then like, you know, what's the benefits of that? How could I do that better? Well, how could I do that not as bad? Or, you know, there's different kind of things to be taken from it. If that makes sense. I start a point and then I kind of lose it halfway tonight. I've had a wee cider or two, so I'm sorry if I'm all over the place tonight. But I do think like, yeah, like so team one, collection one, whatever, it's always going to be about like winning, whatever you think of winning as. Mike said it earlier, it's always good to have fun. Like a fun club or somebody you like following, like Uruguay or New York or whatever. But there's got to be a time and a place for that, depending on who you are and how you want to play this game. If you just want to play for fun, then maybe that's what you start with. And you go, I'm just going to buy Salzburg because they've always got wonder kids. And next year, 10 of them will move on. And then maybe 1 or 2 of them make it into champ. And then next year, when I'll have a bit more experience, I'll buy that Aston Villa team. And maybe I'll get some of that Salzburg crossover later on to boost them up because they play in Italy and they're smashing it, or Germany or whatever. Sort of thing. But I do think like my super rares, like because I've kept them all in champion explicitly. I don't know why they're coming up as it's because I've got this region on still. But I do think when I look at that, that is my kind of equivalent to like a beginner. You know, if you did just start out today and you were on a budget, the caliber of guy, you know, like I've got a strong collection here with Girona and 1 or 2 other ones that look half okay, but the caliber of guy I've got here isn't really anything above a tier 1. There's a few, maybe a couple of tier 1s, a lot of tier 2s, a lot of tier 3s here. And I think if you were starting to have fun, get guys you know, you like, try and pull these wacky combos together. Then like the essence you pull from it, you don't want to poison it against different regions. You don't want to have, I'll do that for champ and then I'll do that for Charlie and whatever, because you know, if those were the best cards you could get. For me, they're super rare, but if they were the best cards you could get at limited or rare, then pulling T5s and T4s probably aren't going to help them too much, you know, unless you get one, of course. I think that you need to at least make it 100-point pool, you know, so you've got that dross totally cut out the equation, and then you know whoever's going to come out that machine is going to be somewhat usable.
Yeah.
So you might be in that position where you've got just budget squad guys and you're trying to hodgepodge a magic 5 together.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
like
think,
even at that, 2% collections are there as well for me with Leipzig and a few other things. Forget about Girona. 2% still helps.
yeah, no, it does massively. I was just thinking now for me, there's a little exception again outside of the region thing with under 23, because if you are pulling 4s and 5s, like tier 4s and 5s, okay, they might not be usable for you in the now. The beauty of under 23 cards in general, if they have multiple years of under 23, is they can become good cards. Like they just can. Like they might not be in a situation right now. They might be, third or fourth choice right back at Leipzig now, but in a year's time they get a loan and boom, they're Richie Ledesma. Like
Yeah.
that thing is so much like that type of route to like good scores can happen in under 23 if you're pulling like early in that sense. Whereas like if you are pulling early in Contender and wherever else, yeah, they could be under 23 younger guys that could do that, but most of the time they're going to be older guys that like just aren't going to cut if you ever, So at least if you are pulling early in under 23, like if you are ending up with cards that like don't have just 1 year left of your eligibility under 23 wise, then there's still value in that, I think. Do you know what I'm saying? No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Under 23 is definitely a little bit different. Like that Bro Home, there's a tier 4 for me out of under 23. So like under 23 does have a wee bit of magic with those lower tiers if you do get a wee bit lucky. And the scouting part of it that's what I said to you, but not tonight, but before, about the whole removal of All-Star. Like the only solace is that under 23 is kind of now that it fills that void. And it's the only thing I don't like about it is the age restriction, but it's also the one thing that kind of keeps it cool is the age restriction, because like if you weren't up for like scouting and being clever and look for those emerging talents, the majority of them are under 23 anyway. You're not looking at 27-year-old guys in the J League for that. If you are looking to be clever and cute, you're looking at the 18-year-old that's going to get minutes, the 21-year-old that's just transferred.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're pulling out with the under 23s, and yeah, like as long as you don't get a fucking absolute terrible footballer,
right?
Maybe numbers is better for under 23. Just get them all in and see who does rise to the top, because it's a hard thing to predict.
Yeah, 100%. Your lads are 1-0 up, by the way.
Yeah, that's what the chat's telling me anyway. And I went to put it on screen, but sadly my fighting special super rare team has John McGinn in it. He didn't quite get the decisive to go alongside it. It's McTominay and McLean that have done it for us tonight. I did say Scotland weren't going to score, Harry. I'm really sorry, but
that's murdered one of my teams.
No clean sheet for Costa tonight.
Yeah, that is a painful one.
Typical Scotland. Lose 3-2 to Poland at home. Go away to Portugal and take the lead.
I know. Spain are 1-0 up. Yamal assist. Joselu goal.
Nice. Joselu. And then there's that part of collections as well, where they could go to fucking Saudi or Dubai now at this point, and you're left with your dick in your hands on that one. So there's a wee bit of jeopardy if they're kind of too good, but not good enough, where like maybe a big bag of money from Saudi Arabia is the next step in their career. Like
that's the issue, right? Yeah.
Like Moussa Diaby can't see himself going to Man City, Barcelona, Real Madrid. He's been at Aston Villa. He gets that big bag of money and he goes, I'll take it, I'll move. There's other examples, of course, but
yeah. Same as Ivan Toney, and I know he's a bit older, but
Ivan Toney, yeah, exactly. Those offers haven't came for him. So would you know the key piece of the Brentford collection?
Gone from 40 quid a week at Brentford taxed to 400k untaxed a week.
It's going to be good. I seen his little farewell speech in the pub with his pals. He said the flights are on me. I can bet they are, big man.
I know.
No Ronaldo, no party for the Portuguese.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I see. I wasn't planning on specifically like bumming up collections as such. I was more kind of, and I again really happy with all the chat we've had tonight. I'm not wrapping up just quite yet, unless we're done. I don't know, but I was more thinking like a lot of people are out there buying their first club, buying their first squad, buying their first collection, and especially if you are buying in season, you are just going to see the price of it coming down. I've been there. I've done it. You will survive. You will spend too much on cards. Some of them, like Santirod, might wash their face. Let you know. Some of these guys might help you out. Some of them might kill you. But the The NYC one I can live with because I love, well, I say love loosely, but I support the club. I've supported them since they were since inception, which is something that I've enjoyed about following NYC, and I do recommend for any of you guys, maybe if you do pick up an MLS collection in the future or whatever, but like seeing a club like through its whole history or the majority of its history, or for a lot of them, a lot of Sorare players, you've seen the best period ever in the history of Philadelphia Union. Like they were rotten before they get Sorare cards, and they've just had this mad coincidental transformation at the time. And like that's quite a cool thing, I think, in football, because we kind of go back to the 60s and watch Celtic and Man United and Real Madrid and all the rest of it. And I know it's not the same, but when we're older, you'll be like, oh, I remember when they won the league for the first time, or I remember, like if you're into that kind of thing. I know I am, because I'm a bit of a football nutter. It becomes easier if you've got something attached to it. You've got some fun or whatever. But if you are playing it for pure ROI, hanging on to those guys, bringing them into next season, and then using my gallery, Harry's gallery, there's a few other ones out there to look at, of how do you build on that in season 2? How do you take those now classic cards and make them functional next year? Is it get that attachment gallery for the new season to fill the holes and have a wee in-season start, and then they go out and get you more in-seasons from classic to kind of jet fuel it and kind of get it going? Or is it just get a totally new club, maybe in the same region, just leave them, they're going to go classic, just leave them, forget them, they'll do what they do, and this year I'm going to go for this team, get them in season from the beginning, and then after that year you then get 2 full classic rigs, and then they're going to get cards a lot quicker than you did the year before. So then you've got a different It's more that kind of viewpoint I kind of wanted to try my best to display for you on that spreadsheet and the collections, and buying the Mijatovic tonight and stuff like that, because the card value, you need to be happy with the price of the card when you buy it. I learned that lesson a long time ago, and sorry, this is my 5th season now, believe it or not. Harry's learned that lesson. I think half the people in the chat, if not all of them, have learned that lesson. But you need to be happy with the price on the day, and as long as you've got a plan for the cards in the collection, there really shouldn't be too much of a problem, unless you genuinely weren't happy to spend that money on the day, in which case you made the mistake.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately, a lot of people, I count myself in that as well at times. Like we've all been subject to it, haven't we? If we've been around long enough, it's quite hard to avoid, I think.
Big time. Just catching up the chat there. Sorry, Harry. I decided to spend £400 on in-season Chelsea and Brighton. Palmer and Bart are my big players from each team. Nice. And Brighton and Chelsea, mate, honestly, I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. Some of the members will know this, but one guy I was mentioning with that Leipzig collection, like, see if I was starting Sorare today and I wanted to have that, buy a collection, get the high XP, and then watch the players move, I'd be buying Chelsea all day, every day, because so many good players will be really cheap because they're not going to play for Chelsea. Mm-hmm. Chelsea are doing a thing now, but where Palmer wasn't registered for the Europa League, so you might actually get a bit of utility out of the squad as a whole. But next summer, the summer after, that Chelsea squad has got to fuck off. Like, so many of them are going to go back to France, they're going to move to Italy, maybe Saudi or whatever. But that squad is too big, to cope. There's goalkeepers everywhere as well. Some of them are already out on loan, getting some utility already. But that's the sort of, like, if I wasn't going, I suppose it's a wee bit of fun and ROI, but I would look for the bloated squad and try and get those, like, guys that are on the bench that are too good to be on the bench, and wait for them to go back to Germany or Italy or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that sweet spot, isn't it? Of if they're in season, you need them to yield for you at the same time as having the bloatedness.
But the bloated parts of it, there's no rush to buy the in-season versions of them until the price is right for you. So as long as you get them first owner, like I did with Celtic stuff, you can buy them in the off season. They'll still sell them to you if they've got them there. They might not have them the way they're selling cards this season, but like the actual ones you're not going to use, there's not that much of a rush on it. And especially when you go off season, those guys get worth even less unless they get transfer rumors.
Yeah. It's about timing, isn't it? Really about timing those bloated pieces right, effectively.
Spain are 2-0 up. I'm going to see if I've got somebody in the game to have a peek at it, but I don't think I do. Spain. Oh, I do. Danny Olmo, but he's out. But I can get the tab.
Fabian Ruiz
and Rodri. Neither have played for City or PSG yet, but they're back on for Spain.
Yamal's on a 75 after 18 minutes. I'm telling you, he is the best card on this game right now.
He's a real deal, isn't he? He's what everyone thought Fatty was going to be.
Yeah, literally. He's ridiculous. Like, Nobody can convince me otherwise. Champ card.
How
I'm picking him over anyone.
how long till he breaks?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it'd be a shock if he had a injury because most players go through it. But
The Pedri, the Xavi effect, like
he
it
just
happens to
seems
all those
durable,
Barca
man.
kids. I think so.
I just think he's so durable. Like his physically, like he's just a specimen. Like he's absolutely ridiculous. Like the way his body's just sort of set out. Like I don't know. It's tough to see him. Like obviously you can still get injured. Doesn't matter how good you are physically, but like Fatty, just like you just look at him as a human. Like Yamal's just a bit more stretched out and a bit more leaner and a bit more durable. Like I said, and I don't know. I just think he will probably get injured, but I don't know. He just seems a lot more, capable of bouncing back in that sense.
I think I don't know about Messi Ronaldo levels. It's really hard to see anyone touching them other than Haaland. Really, at the moment, just the actual figures and statistics when their careers finish. Goals scored and whatever. But talent-wise, like he reminds me a lot of Neymar, Yamal, how he glides up and down the pitch. Messi's always just been that guy where it's like, how did they get by those four people? Like, how did they actually do that? He does it every week. No one takes the ball off him. How is he doing this? But Yamal's a wee bit more like that Neymar, where he might rainbow flick you, he might score from the edge of the box. He might do something. Because for all his talent, Messi's never rainbow flicked anyone,
No, Messi's is like the most skillful, non-skillful player in the world, if that makes sense. Like you'll never see him do anything extravagant as far as like flair goes, but as far as like dribbling and just the way you can dribble at pace is just like it was freakish, wasn't it? And the fact that like he was so small really meant that like it just felt like he's defying physics in that sense, right? A lot of the time where Yamal and like you said, Neymar and they're just they're just different players, obviously, but Yamal's just like a quicker, better Mahrez for me. Like very similar players, like a Savio, like that sort of left foot plays on the right side, but like how they move their body and stuff. Those like wingers that, like I said, play on the opposite side to what their foot is in that sense. Like they just look different, and they're just Like Neymar's both footed, so like he could do anything. Neymar, it could be a 10 and literally play anywhere, and like you just didn't know what way Neymar's going to go in that sense because he is literally like both footed when it can come to dribbling, whereas like Yamal's so left footed, he's a bit more like easier to read because obviously he's still doing his thing. But like I don't know, I just think he's the best card on the game right now. Like I don't see why you'd want anyone else. He's just phenomenal. And like the fact that he's taking like set pieces and stuff from like a fantasy standpoint, it's just like, what are we doing? Like this guy's actually like just got everything.
Just proper cheat code. I think I think this is a wee bit of shade, Rico, man, that you're throwing Neymar. For me, Neymar at Barca is undeniable. Like he was on that level with those two, Ronaldo and Messi back then, but he made that move to Paris, and it was. I can't say I'm close enough to really know all the ins and outs of it all, but it really did feel like he didn't feel appreciated by the fans as much. He liked to take the piss out of the league, rainbow flicking people and stuff like that, And then he's getting those big bags of money, and he's just kind of like, fuck it, man. PSG aren't winning anything. They're going to keep paying me. Then Saudi Arabia pay him, obviously, and he's doing all that stuff. If he said that Barca, I don't think there'd be any. Like he's already shown. I don't think he was a fatty or a one-hit wonder kind of guy or whatever. I think Neymar was legit Ballon d'Or level. And Robin Lenormand's red card.
Oh, no way.
And it's just the money. He's made the money too quick. And I know he didn't do it super young, but like he still had stuff to achieve. He thought, I'm going to go to PSG. I'll be away from Messi. I'll get the Ballon d'Or. And then it's just kind of the wheels fall off it from there. And he's just like, fuck it. I'm not going to achieve it. So who gives a shit anymore? Eden Hazard almost style,
Yeah, too much too young, isn't it? Like, I think he had a kid really young, and sometimes that can actually go for you in some ways. But I don't know. I just think he just burst onto the scene, didn't he? And at Santos, and but what a freak player! Like, I don't know. Yeah, Yamal is our version of that now, probably, but you'll never beat the rainbow flicks and like. I know, like Vinny tries to bring it back now and again, but like, let's be honest, like Neymar was the real deal when it comes to those type of things. And I love Vinny as well, but different players in that sense. But yeah, I do miss Neymar. I do miss that MSN era. What an era for football.
It was unadulterated, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. But like MSN was the peak, right? But I really did love Alexis Sanchez, Neymar, and Messi. I thought they
It
were
was good.
fucking brilliant as well.
Hmm.
Like peak Alexis Sanchez is the workhorse. He's got that talent that they've got, and
He was
like
class, wasn't he?
Suarez, but you can't not have Suarez. But I think
How
I
good
think you
was
get,
he?
and this might sound weird, right? Because I think he was also great with Suarez, but I think Messi and Neymar were better with Sanchez in a way because like he
Mhm.
was wide, Messi was central, Neymar would be left. Whereas when it was Suarez, Suarez was central, and it was like, "Where's Messi?" And it was a wee bit of a
He's just
thing for it.
everywhere, wasn't he? Yeah.
In terms of like synergy or cohesion or symmetry or whatever.
Yeah. That's
Chucky
just the
Gallon.
modern player, though, I think. Chucky to Gala, get it done. Yeah, Hugo, that's just like not saying every player now is, from modern era is got that mentality, but like, there's just there's just less players that go off the rails, if that makes sense. Like from like the younger generation, the ones with like a lot of talent, like Vinny, like they're just so much more driven. They've seen Neymar make mistakes. That the blueprint is there. To what not to do, if that makes sense.
They've seen Marcus
Um,
Rashford.
yeah, but like you couldn't even count that as like going off the like. I don't know.
Let it go to his head, I would say.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the school meals and stuff definitely got to his head that era, didn't it? When he signed his new contract and stuff. But yeah, it happens. But like, I don't know. I think like Yamal, they just seem a bit more like less off the rails. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know why, but they just are.
Yeah, I think so. I think with Hazard, it's more a case. It's similar to that Neymar one, where he thinks he's climbing a mountain, and then when he gets to the next stage, he realizes he's not going to get there, and he just fucks it. Because his dream was to get to Real Madrid, and then he got there, and there wasn't really a place for him in the team, and then he got injured, and then he was overweight, and he's making all this money, and then everyone hates him. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to go to MLS. No, I've made enough money. Fuck this. Like, I'm
I'll
done.
just stream.
Aye, I'll just stream. Just go play Kings League or something,
I don't blame him. No, I agree with you, Hugo. Yeah, Yamal hasn't given me any sort of worries in that sense either. I think the most recent one I can remember, there's obviously going to be other ones, but remember Mohamed Itaran? I know he wasn't like that good, but remember the PSV kid?
Oh, yeah.
Itaran? He went to
Yeah.
like Juve and then he like fell off the face of the earth and like you get it. Like there is still kids that do that kind of just don't have that elite mentality. Not every good player can have an elite mentality. Otherwise, too many players would make it pro. Like that's what differentiates the 1% is like they're just relentless and they just don't stop. And yeah, there's I can't think of too many though. Like not failed wonder kids, but like you can't put Fatty down to like a mentality thing. It's just like you just get unlucky. Some players are just broken. Like this Tarap, but like he played. Like he was playing, championship and like, and he didn't burst onto the scene that early, did he, Tarab? As in like age-wise. I don't think he was like 18, like, oh my god, this kid's crazy. Could you put like Ben Arfa in that conversation? I don't know. There's obviously gonna be a few. I feel like they all peaked a bit later, maybe. Yeah, Ben Arfa, good shout. I don't know. I'm on about kids who are like 17, 18, broke onto the scene and were done by like 20, not so much. We saw Ben Arfa playing the Premier League till like 26, 20, well, around that age anyway. Same for Tarap. Like kids who are literally came onto the scene 16 and just literally fell off the face of the earth. Itaran comes to mind.
It depends on your POV, but there's like a few great ones here. Obviously, Freddie Adu always comes up in this kind of chat, doesn't it? Ravel Morrison. But I was just thinking there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sugar, it's just fell at the back of my mind here. It was a Man City guy.
Not like Stephen Island, not Stephen Island.
No.
Michael Johnson was his name.
Nah. It will come back to me in a second. It's on the tip of my tongue. But
yeah, Ball. That's the one I was on about, Matt. Yeah.
No, not an English guy. But it was Brahim Diaz, because Brahim Diaz was like coming through, and it was like Pep loves him, Pellegrini loved him, and then Real Madrid bought him for like 40 million quid. And he played like Man City were starting to like give him minutes when he was like 18, 19. Alongside, they had someone else. It might have been, no, it wasn't Dennis Suarez, but it was Eric Garcia. I think it might have been. But they're like, we'll give you his minutes and we'll keep his. And then Brahim's like, nah, I'm going to Real Madrid for 40 million. And then Eric Garcia's like, nah, I'm going to Barca for 25 mil. But Brahim Diaz, especially, like being Man City are trying to they were keeping Foden on the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And all that. No, Brahim, we want to keep you. We'll give you a shot. And like, I know he plays for Real Madrid still, but he's fucking mince. Like,
yeah. Macheda, that's a great shout. That's a really good one. The like had the limelight at whatever 18 or something, and yeah, it just obviously didn't work out for him. That's a really good one, actually.
yeah, full on vanished. Nile Ranger.
Title Ranger, that's not bad.
Yeah, Ravel Morrison always comes up. But yeah, it definitely
well,
feels less of them these days because like the business associated with football now is like so strong.
Yeah.
Like lifestyle gets checked really quick, really hard. And I think like, and again, also I've not worked for an elite club, but like, it's not quite like it's not quite like they're treated like horses, but it's not far off it either. Like they are borderline property, you know what I mean? Like of the club. I was listening to one of those footballer podcasts recently and they were talking about how, it was Evra on the overlap. And he was talking about how obviously like fair game Man United is really hard and all that, but he says like when I went to Juve, that's when I fucking started training. He's like, they come to your house, they check your food, they talk to your wife, they do this, they do that, they've got monitors on you, and all the rest of it. So it's like you're borderline property, nowadays.
You can't breathe without them doing anything, like knowing about it, type of thing. Yeah, it's just way more monitored, isn't it? And social media, like everything's a bit more. You can't get away with anything, basically. Like if you are going out partying and stuff, someone's putting it on social media, so that's why they don't go out. Like that's literally it, because they're just going to get found out. And yeah, they do have everything for. Yeah, they don't have to do anything.
Yeah, because this thing Micah Pompey's saying as well. That's how you get Garnacho throwing birthday parties and his mad stupid get up and his dancing and all that, and Messi's looking at him like, what the fuck are you all about? So just their social dynamic with everything gets off a wee bit, I guess, isn't it? Just being in the bubble, having so much money, having everyone wanting to be their best pal, and that's maybe the biggest risk rather than being a wreckheads now.
Yeah, it's tough.
The Balotelli effect, maybe we'll call that.
Yeah. There's definitely, I think social media has had a massive effect on all that, though. Like the pressures of not like. You're just not going to run the risk of going out to public places because you're just going to get found out, basically.
Indeed. Jonathan Rice at PSV was like the next Ronaldo. That's a new one on me. Maybe I remember him from an old Football Manager or something. I do feel, Harry Boy, that we're going off the rails now quite firmly at this point.
Yeah, we have. We've divulged.
I hope you've all enjoyed, guys. We've had a bunch of here on a Sunday night. Had to check myself there. It's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to catching the comment sections after we've been live. So if you watch this after we've been live, drop thoughts and feelings there as well. Be happy to pick up on it. There's a question we had about lessons and stuff like that. There'll be a big stream on Wednesday night. We'll have a few guests on the channel. It's going to be a big week ahead anyway. I've got content recorded already for the full week ahead, which is good fun. And we've got live streams coming out. The hoo-ha! So it's going to be a big week. But yeah, I've kind of said everything I need to say. Harry Boy, how are you?
Yeah, no, I think we covered collections in a magnitude of different ways, and yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent, magic. Well, to everyone else, thanks a lot, and enjoy the rest of your night.
See you, lads.
On to Scotland.